on? It's another episode of RVA Bike Scene. It's Tuesday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo if you're celebrating that.
Happy tacos.
Happy Taco Tuesday. Happy all around.
Happy hot day.
Yeah, it's nice.
Another scorcher after our mornings of 40 degrees.
Oh, that was so nice. Just so nice to be like, I'm a little chilly in the morning, and then the afternoon is like 70. You're like, oh, it's perfect.
It's great.
You could hear the sounds of suburbia with people mowing their lawns out through a microphone. Lots going on. We have the biggest thing, of course, is RVA Bike Month, which for those who don't know, first of all, Sean and I are bike geeks here in the Richmond region. He's in Richmond. I'm in Chesterfield. We talk all things bikes. I have a YouTube channel, Ian Stewart Cycles, where I post a lot of my rides, and we also post this video if you're listening to it on the podcast form. If you do want to hear about RVA Bike Month, I interviewed Natalie Rainier of Bike Walk RVA about everything going on, and it's only the 5th, so there's still lots of things happening. And I'll start with
something every day.
Yeah, something every day. We'll dive into some of our things we're looking forward to. We don't want to overload you too much, but I will backtrack and say the Mayo Bridge 24-hour relay, which I wish I could have done, even though I think they had a spot open at 4 or 5 a.m. It was a bike and pedestrian relay to highlight the importance of having a protected bike lane on the Mayo Bridge, which I thought was kind of already done, but it's not. So I really want to advocate for a safe passage on that for both bikes, pedestrians, and buses, and limit the use of cars. There are other ways to get across, over the river. Cars are fine, but, with this new bridge being built eventually, going right into Mayo Island and right into the city, it's going to draw tons of people. We don't need cars rushing through there.
Yeah, it's a vital connector between work and a place to live and a place to recreate. So we could definitely use some multi-use trail or something along there. The designs, seeing what they were planning, and there's some pushback on what they were planning. And I don't know if they've made any new decision, but just a painted bike lane is not enough. It needs to be more than that.
As we well know, painted bike lane is not enough. Oh God. Yep. Anyways, we're talking about RVA Bike Month going on. We were talking about the Mayo Bridge, which is great. So let's dive into some of the things going on. So depending on, I don't want to jump, to what's going on tomorrow because
no one's going to hear it.
Because by the time I edit this, I'll start, for the weekend. There is let's see. Well, you could talk about the road racing coming up, but if I get this out in time on Thursday, but on Friday, May 8th, the Richmond Bicycle Factory Open House. I didn't know there was a bicycle factory. These are all on sportsbackers.org/RVA Bike Month.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about hot bikes. It's spelled haute, the French word, haute, Haute. It is a local frame builder. It's kind of a collaboration between a couple of people. Wilson Hale, a couple other people have been involved in that, and they do steel bikes. They've got a kind of custom bike thing and a kind of a stock bike thing. They're really cool. They've got a factory, meaning just like a welding workshop. I've never been there, so I certainly have thought about going to this thing. But I know that all the people involved, really cool little Richmond thing going on.
Yeah, that's and that's from 6 to 9:30 for those who are interested. And again, these are all on sportsbackers.org/RVA.
We've got a bike swap, everything on Pedal Power Bike Shops on the 9th.
Yeah, and with that, I went to their. By the way, you could link. I'm sorry to cut you off there. You could link on their website. You could link to these events, and I tried to go to the bike swap at Pedal Power, but they didn't have any information on it. Just linked to their website, and I want to know more about that because I wonder if that's the one where I could bring in my kids' bikes. And
you can. Pedal Power, I think, is the one where you just show up with your stuff.
Yeah.
Blue Ridge Cyclery does one where you have to sign up in advance and drop your stuff off like 2 or 3 days out, and you get shop credit. I think Pedal Power is you stay there with it and you sell things yourself. But that's the way they used to do it. Maybe it's a little different now. I'm not sure the full details.
Yeah, they mentioned bringing your bike, and they could there is another one coming up on May 16th, a Belmead Community Bike Shop Youth Bike Swap. So I could do that for my kids' bikes. Anyways, so yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on, this weekend. Cap to Cap, the famous Virginia Capitol Trail. That means you go from Richmond to Jamestown and back, or however far that you're able to go. That one you had to sign up for through the Virginia Capitol Trail Foundation and, pay a fee because they support it. I don't know if you could still sign up for that. There's also RVA Bike Polo Community Day on Saturday, May 9th from 12 to 4. And I'm doing a story on bike polo coming up for, I think, Richmond Magazine, and I'm working with that because I've been doing a lot of sports stories. I have a bocce ball story coming out from Richmond pretty soon, and a croquet one coming up later in the fall. So I
All
didn't want to
right.
bombard. I didn't want to bombard Richmonder with another sporty story. What anything you're looking forward to? Have you done anything yet with Bike Month?
I haven't done anything really with Bike Month other than just kind of talking to people about it. We do have the Thursday night races at Dogwood Dell.
Mm-hmm.
This Thursday is the last one. It may get rained out and moved to the 14th. So we'll see how that goes. I would like to do getting my daughter to school tomorrow. It's RPS bike day or bike to school day for the city. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a little wet in the morning, which hurts us a little bit. And also I have to because of the rain, I have to take my high schooler to school. So that might negate my timing. I was trying to get that going. We do have Bike to Work Day is coming up. I don't
What date do you
remember.
have that?
I think that's the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, Bike to Work Day is the 15th, and River Rock is the 15th to 17th, which isn't all
Okay.
bikes.
Now, I want to nitpick on there. Why is River Rock in there, do you think, for Bike Month? I mean, besides you could bike to River Rock.
They have a mountain bike event this year.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And they have like a kids bike area and a skateboard area.
Okay,
and some,
okay.
but they don't have the big mountain bike race this year that they used to have. Not sure exactly why. The fact that Browns Island is being renovated has something to do with like where things are going to be staged and happening. That may have some bit to do with it. The expo area is smaller. All the concerts are at Allianz. They're still free. I don't know about things like food trucks and food and beer,
Right.
but they are moving some things around because of it. There's a bike valet, I think, to get down there if you're going to the concerts and things like that. So yeah, it's got some bike things historically,
All right.
but
Well, then
not as much this year.
I apologize if I was sounding snippy about it. I don't want to dive in too much because there is a calendar and we could go on, with each event. But there is, every Monday's Bike Monday Bros. You could look for that. They're also on Facebook. And then this one I'm really interested in, the East End History Bike Tour with the Valentine. That's on Saturday, May 16th. That's also the same day as the Bike Youth Swap. So a lot of great stuff happening for Bike Month. It is 77 events, they told me when I interviewed Natalie Rainier about it.
Yeah.
And that's just fantastic. So
Thanks.
kudos to Bike Walk RVA for putting this on, or helping organize the event, and then to all the people that are doing things for this.
Yeah, something on the calendar every day. Most days have 2 or 3 things at least. So
they said like a punch card maybe next time. And I still need to get to an event. It's really being in the county over here in Chesterfield. It's just, I know it's not far. Like I bike to the city all the time. It's just timing to be like, let me load up my bike and let me go find a place to park to get to the biking event. And, it's just, anyways, I will go because I want to
drive and park somewhere
and
on
then
the
bike
other
in.
side and then just make that last 2 or 3 mile connection.
It's just the timing of it. Like I wish we lived in the city where I could just get on my bike and like, oh, I could go do this now because I'm done and I could bike over. Anyways. So, all right. So Bike Month is in full swing. Check out the YouTube and podcast about that, or go to sportsbackers.org/RVA Bike Month. Another interesting thing happening is the Fall Line, and we know the Fall Line is a 43-mile trail from Ashland down to Petersburg, or Petersburg up to Ashland, depending on your mode of transportation. More and more keeps getting done. I am like super impressed with the amount of pavement that is getting put down. You know where the latest is, right? The latest little section is getting done.
I drove by it today. I went out to put up the signage for the races coming up on Tuesday nights. On May 19th is our start for the Bryan Park training series.
Bryan Park, there you go.
Bryan Park today. And I drove by and waved at all the guys putting the pavement down, said thanks. They've got from the Bryan Park, is it Bryan Parkway, I think is the name of the road. They've got almost all of the pavement, if not all of it now, between the exit of the park all the way to Lakeside done. Saw a few people walking on it. Some of it's brand new, like they just laid it maybe at noon today, this morning.
And then, you have little spots in Ashland out there, and just fantastic. And, the Bryan Park section, of course, has a cloud of controversy over it from a group of residents who wanted it to not go through there. And that you guys could look that. You two listening could go look it up. We don't need to dive into the controversy, but there was one.
You can go read about it on Nextdoor.
You can go read. Yeah, don't read it there. I think I did an article on them when they were first doing the groundbreaking with former Mayor LeVar Stoney and Brant.
But it is moving forward the way that it was planned. The fencing is up to protect the trees, and to they've got the markers to show, I think, some of the route, maybe not all of it, I think they're phasing it a little bit. So some of the route is already done. There's a few little areas they've got to take out a little like stone wall to make the transition from pavement to the actual fall line trail. So there's a little bit of extra work that has to be done on those areas, but it is marked out to some degree where it's going to go. And, you can go by there and see kind of what this amenity is going to look like and where it'll take you. And you can make that last connector probably as of tomorrow from Bryan Parkway between Lakeside and the entrance to the
Let's
park.
take a break. If you like the mechanics of transportation and the RVA Bike Scene podcast and want to support our efforts, then please consider subscribing to it by clicking the link in the show notes. You could also help support us by sharing this podcast on all your social media platforms and rating it. It actually helps out when you do things like this. You could also send me a tip via Venmo at Ian-Stewart-82, or you could buy me a cup of coffee at Buy Me a Coffee. A link is also in the show notes. It's buymeacoffee/Ian_Stewart. My son was just reminding me the other day, speaking of Bryan Park, that he misses the Moonlight Ride, which happens every summer. I don't know if it's happening this year or not, but he needs a new bike, but he was saying, oh, that was so much fun. I remember I did it the first year and I was like, I wish my family were here. And then we did it and they all loved it. It was such a fun event.
Not sure what happened to that. Do you know who put it on?
I know I got a good pint of Sierra Nevada afterwards.
Yeah, I don't think Sierra Nevada was the ones.
No, they weren't. They weren't. I forgot who it was, but
I'll ask.
But yeah, well, let's see if we can do that again, especially with the I don't know I wonder how the parking lots are going to be now at CarMax Stadium with everything, because the stadium right there where the Squirrels play, it's a great area for the runners to meet for the marathon training and bikers, and anyways, we'll see if that happens. Bryant Parks, we mentioned a little bit of controversy, but there's another kind of thing happening in the city that I know you're passionate about, since you ride around in the city a lot, and it's all about bike parking, or not bike parking. It's all about cars where they park with bike lanes. Tell people what's going on with that and what it is.
The city code did not require people to park in a parking space outside of the bike lane. The only ticket you could get, it seems, was fully parked in the bike lane. So if you had two wheels over the white lines, that was considered the buffer, and the actual city code did not mention the buffer at all. So you had to be in the bike lane. And even then, I don't know that anyone really ever got tickets for it. But as of last week, the city code charter was amended. Now the buffer is included in the bike lane. So when you're parked in the buffer, you will get a ticket at $65. They were supposed to do a warning, I think, for a month. And I'm not sure how far that went. I saw a few little they were just green pieces of paper that said, hey, don't do this. And it looks like even if no tickets have been issued, the word's getting out, because on Brook Road, which is where I spend most of my time and where my son rides to school, it looks like a lot of people are parking in the actual parking area, which is, it's safer for the bikes. In some cases, it helps navigate because there's a stick or a big puddle of water in the bike lane, but it slows people down. The road becomes narrower and it slows people down traveling on Brook. And that's the road diet that the whole point of this was the road diet. Now we're kind of getting the benefit of why they did it.
Yeah. And so you included everything I was going to mention in case you didn't. But so for those who don't know, you've seen bike lanes with just paint, near curb, and, cars are going to the left of you if you're on a bike. So this is different for those who haven't seen it. It's basically the bike lane is closer to the curb, and then people park left closer to the travel lane of cars. And like you mentioned, it's supposed to slow cars down and keep cyclists protected. And I know a lot of drivers are upset, but we need the more people that could bike safely, the less people will be on the roads theoretically. And it slows traffic down. There's a speed issue still. So I think it's a win-win, and just, it's just one of those things that you have to learn when you drive a car. It's not to get on a rant, but it's just, you have a car and you have responsibilities. You get a license and you have to learn where to park, and you have to follow rules and laws to park. And this is just another thing. Is it inconvenient? Maybe for a little bit, but you get used to it.
Yeah. The thing that I have had at least one discussion with was someone saying, like, I can't get out of my car now because I'm getting out into traffic. But if you go to the Fan or Carytown, no matter where you go, if you park on the right side of the road, if it's parallel parking, you're getting out into traffic in every one of those places too. So it's not like this example doesn't exist somewhere else.
Right.
It's a solution. We've kind of looked at this, we've studied it, we've taken the information we know, and we've done this particular design of bike lane because it's been proven to work, not because somebody just put it down on paper and said, let's try this.
Right.
And the buffer creates an area for you to get out of your car on the right side. If you're a passenger, you can get out, but the buffers are a variable width. So sometimes they're a foot, and sometimes they're 3 and 4 feet. So it depends on where you are as to how convenient it is. But on the driver's side, you do have to look back and make sure that nothing's coming.
Right.
Which is a good habit to be in. You don't want your door taken off by a car, but you don't want to. I hope you don't want to open your door into an oncoming cyclist, right? If you're somewhere where there might be people using the road on alternate transportation. We've seen it before. We know that people can get around this because they do it every day in Carytown, Fan, west of the Boulevard.
Right.
It's everywhere.
It's just another way that drivers and want to complain, and all these social media comments that people start wanking about stuff like this. They need to pay taxes. They need to do this, and I'm like, bikers pay taxes, and you should know where your taxes come from for these type of projects.
It comes down to inconvenience.
It's just an inconvenience.
Is something to complain about.
Car brain.
Yeah. I'm inconvenienced by cars parked in the bike lane. I'm inconvenienced by the people that have a water meter that they haven't called in, and it's got an algae-filled pool that I have to go out around into traffic every day because,
right.
And my kid does the same thing. There's 2 sections that he has to go around because they're just covered in algae water. He doesn't want to get that all over his back on his way to school. Inconvenience.
Don't blame them. All right, so we have the bike month, we have the fall line. We talked about the bike parking. That's kind of a big thing. Was there something else with the bike? Oh, yeah, the VDOT just released their trail plans, which people who want to read that, it just came out. They released a plan to advance a system of connected multi-use trails. I haven't had a chance to dive in, but it's a whole PDF file, and which is kind of cool that they're doing that. So if people are interested in that, just go to VDOT and look for their multi-use trail connected plan. And then I know Graham, I think at Richmonder also posted something on. No, it was the bike thing. Never mind. I thought it was something else. But so many bike things going on. I think, are we ready for some races? I know we want to keep this short today, but so there's a lot of good pro races coming on. Are you watching La Vuelta Femenina?
I've watched a little bit of it, mostly just the kind of highlights as you've tended to do. And it's been an interesting race so far. The leader crashes out in the second day.
Naomi Rugg.
Voss crashed and got back up to like 7th place in the sprint. Turns out she's got a broken collarbone. She's out. We had a relegation by a top rider. It's been interesting so far.
But a fantastic race, and of course, I wish they would show more today. I don't know if I want to spoil it, and this by the time this comes out, you'll probably already know anyways. American rider Kristen Faulkner took off and with like 7K to go or 11K to go. And I'm like, oh, she got swept up, but someone else from EF won as well. So we have, I don't know if they're in the jersey, whatever jersey color, but
I saw Cedrine Carball won, and I don't know if she stayed. I think, the leader's jersey changed yesterday because Rugg is out with the injury. Right. So I don't know where that stands now, but the Giro d'Italia starts this weekend. So that
too.
We've got a grand tour coming up. And that's one of my favorite races. The terrain's usually a little more challenging and less predictable from the Tour de France side. It's all these climbs that we know and Finnish cities that we know. And in Italy and Spain, they mix it up and we get these like brutal climbs and towns they've never been in. And so you sometimes get like the unknown that shows up.
Yeah.
But Saturday morning, we get the start of the Giro.
You have a prediction?
I haven't even looked at the start list yet. I probably won't until Thursday or Friday just to see. There's a few key top riders that are staying away from it because they're getting ready for the Tour de France instead. So we're not going to see
Jonas,
Remco, and we're not going to see Tadej.
Oh, Tadej's not doing this one?
I don't think so, but, I know like we've got some injuries with Isaac Del Toro, I think is hurt. So he was either first or second last year. This year might be a little different.
So it'll just make it more of an exciting race. The Tour of Turkey, it's not Turkey. It's spelled how it's supposed to be spelled, but we're still pronouncing it wrong.
We just pronounce it wrong.
Yeah, but Tour of Turkey just finished up. I was watching the last stage, and it wasn't like a barn burner, but it was still like, I love seeing just Turkey and how it looks. Same with today's stage of the La Vuelta Femme, which is stage 3 today, I think, or 2. 3. Oh my God. If anyone has a chance, go watch that. stage or watch a clip or something, but they went along the coast, wherever they are in Spain, and holy moly, just incredibly beautiful. I asked Kristen Faulkner when I interviewed her, which people could go to on Ian Stewart Cycles to watch or find the podcast. And I said, so when you're racing in a place like Norway or some of the other early races she was doing, I'm like, do you have time to kind of look around? And she said, well, no, I mean, I'm racing and we're kind of concentrated, but there was one time, and I think it was the tour, not the Arctic, but somewhere like one of those beautiful, stunning Norwegian type of places. And she looked up and like there was a rainbow, and she was just, gobsmacked and tried to tell the rider next to her, like, look, to kind of say like, we're racing, like we're in this beautiful country and we're racing and stuff. And the rider thought she was trying to like mess with her mind. And at the end, when she got back, and I think they talked to each other, and she's like, why were you? And she's like, it was just really beautiful. Like I wanted you to get a look. That's why I could not race. I mean, one, because of course I'm old and I'm not fast, and Pelotons scare me. But I would be like, look at that. My God, look how beautiful this. Can you believe we're getting paid to do this? Like I would just be the dorkiest idiot on the road.
Yeah, all right. They don't get paid to sightsee, but they do get to train in those places too. So it's not like the race is what they do for their job and it's what we see, but we also don't see them training in the Alps or in Majorca, or they train in some beautiful places too.
Like a lot of American riders live in Girona.
Yeah, Girona's hot for it's a place that you can get to so much stuff from, and there's a big airport nearby, so I think they can travel pretty easily. But yeah, they get to go, they train, and they get to the top of the climb and they like change clothes, put on something. We don't get to do that. We have to suffer through the downhill, freezing, and they get to change clothes. They get to get a snack, a recovery drink, whatever. Sometimes they just do that, and then that's the end of their day, and they get in the car and they drive back, right? Like,
and then get a massage and get food.
Get a massage and a nice spa day afterwards. And so they do get to see that stuff. They just don't get to see it during the race.
Yeah. Well, with that, local races coming up. You mentioned Throat Punch Thursday, which hopefully I'll get this out. But there's other
Thursday,
and then Bryant Park races.
On May 19th, Bryant Park starts with our weekly training crit on Tuesday nights at 4. We set the course up around 4:30 to 5, and you hearing my kids playing Minecraft.
Is that what it is? I had mowing. I think I'd rather hear that than the mowing of the lawns.
Yes, I've locked the door behind me so no one can get in. But so May 19th, Tuesday, starts our Bryant Park series. Every Tuesday, we start racing at about 6 o'clock. End racing around 7:30, 7:45, all the way until September 1st. So that back loop is closed. We've been using it for 53 years now. And so come out and check it out. It's a pretty cool event, and it's definitely Richmond cycling history.
There you go. Well, with that, we'll leave it there, and I'll put a link to Sports Backers to RVA Bike Month, but it's really easy to find, and I hope to see you out at some event soon. And I know you've been riding a little bit. I need to step up my riding game because my bike is working and everything's good. I can get out and finally ride on the regular bike. So
some nice weather out here. So
all right. Any last words? I always cut you off. So you want to be the one to say goodbye?
No, next time? I mean, it's fine if you cut me off. I usually talk too long anyway. So everybody get out and do something for Bike Month and enjoy this nice kind of spring weather that we've got going on for the next few days.
There you go. Until next time.